Hey folks, welcome back to another HP Gaming GameLINK video. We have another little micro unboxing for you of an expansion to a wonderful deck building adventure by the one and only Richard Garfield. We are going to be picking up brand new powers, running through the streets of town and trying to hunt all manner of wonderful victims as we take a look at the brand new expansion to the Hunger High Stakes. Hello folks, welcome back once again. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Matt and I'm sure we're going to be the very best of friends. I am here today, as I said in the tease, to talk to you about the Hunger's new expansion, High Stakes. But this is a game by Richard Garfield. The expansion adds a lot of new craziness, player powers, things like that. We're going to get straight into it. For those of you who haven't watched the Hunger unboxing that we did for the core box, you can find that here. And that'll give you a bit of an overview of what the game is about. But in brevity, it is a deck building adventure game where you will need to make your way out into the fields and cities and towns surrounding your castle, hunt all manner of nastiness, and get back before the sun comes up and you burn to ash. So think of it as a Victorian era version of Clank. Victorian European, yeah, you know what I mean. You make your way out. Plastic, of course, goes on the floor. Make your way out, go do your things. This is an expansion that I believe doesn't add any extra players, just adds extra cards, player powers, more ways to play, etc. So, let's have a look at this and show you what it looks like on the overhead. Oop, there you go. Now, this is fantastic as well because you've got this sort of Van Helsing-esque sort of looking dude, and you've got all of this craziness with werewolves and whatever. I don't know whether you can actually transform into a werewolf as your character, but I do think there are cards that have enemies on them that you can go and hunt, which is kind of fantastic as well. I do as well like the foil that Aura Games and Renegade have put on this too. It looks fantastic. I'm going to pop that one up there. There you go. On display. There we go. Nice, green and awesome. High Stakes is obviously a play on words as well. Vampires are usually killed by a stake through the heart, so haha, very funny indeed. This is a new concept, which is an expansion featuring new twists for hungry vampires, contents there, starting cards, etc. There's some tokens in here. New setup for the game, wound cards that you need to take as a vampire as well. An event deck, which obviously messes with the game as you move forward and can mess up all your plans or make them that much easier to complete. Attack value, threats, how you add a werewolf to the threat area. Threat card, anatomy, how to defeat threats. This is going to turn the game up to 11 and I kind of dig that. Glossary, how it works, add-ons, terms, etc. Search for Planet X, which is getting a bit of an overhaul I think as well, which is fantastic. Vampire Masquerade Rivals. Rulebook is there. Now we have more tokens here. Now these tokens, I think some of these are going to be secrets, your treasure chest tokens from the base game, along with wound or health trackers, which is cool. Then you've got these cemetery mission cards, which will allow you to do, basically get end game last minute points, which is fantastic. You've got regeneration, discard to gain 2 health for each wound you have or heal this turn. Surprise attack, pack hunter, high stakes, gain 1 for each threat card you've defeated. Hunter, great hunter. Neat, intimidating, scars, and pacifist. Gain 1 for each wound you have left in your wound pile. And these look like chompy, teethy ones, which is very cool. And it looks like first aid as well. The chipboard on these is going to be pretty straightforward, stock standard. It does the job. It's going to be nice, a nice feel, very tactile. And then here we have basically just a card holder. And I don't know whether this is meant to be a sorting solution as such. I will say the core box has plenty of card storage. I'm pretty sure all of these cards and tokens will fit into the base box, which is fantastic. I'm just going to lift this out and make sure that these dividers, there's nothing else that's going to be hidden away. I don't think that is the case, but it's always good to check because you never know. Let's see here, we've got that one going back in there. Get it back in. You see the yellow rose, different vampires and things as well, werewolves down the bottom. So it could very well double as a storage solution, maybe further expansions down the track, who knows. The decision will be, will we have kept the box until then? We'll see what happens. Cards, because predominantly this is a deck builder, so there's going to be new starting cards, I think, in this one as well, which is very, very cool. New starting cards, wound cards, you are injured cards, and just general chaos, which I kind of dig. Let me just get this open here. That's what I've got a trusty knife for. I'm going to open that one up. Rip into it. Sort that plastic right on off there. Now you've got the standard hunger background as well. So they all can be shuffled in, no problems, to your deck. Now these are going to be starting cards. Gloomstalker with that eating symbol there. I believe that symbol is attack value. So if you find a threat card that has an attack value of 1, having 2 will obviously allow you to beat it. Vampire Claws. Vampiric Rage. Draw 1 card if you have a threat card in your play area, and it's 4 speed as well. Now these cards denote which vampire they're for, so obviously you add those in. I think you may actually replace your standard starting cards with these ones. And then you have the same there, these are all starters. I like that Vampiric Rage, that's cool. I'd like to know as well if anyone's had the pleasure of playing through the Hunger. If you've played it with a playing count of 6, I think the most we've had is 3 at the table, which has not been bad, but I'd love to hear thoughts on if you've had a larger player count, how that works. Wound cards, draw 1 card, heal if you hunt at least 1 human. Lose 2 at the end of the game if you haven't healed this wound card. And there's just standard wound cards there. I think there's 40 odd of those in different colours. So they could be, again, starting player colours for the different players in the game. Looks like it. All the different colour tokens, lots of those. Then we have some people to hunt. You have Mighty Marge, who looks pretty boss. Champion. Gain X when you hunt Mighty Marge, where X is equal to your threat for the turn or your attack value. Sala, BFF, hunt another warrior of your choice on the hunt track. Humperdinck, add 1 wound to your discard when you hunt Humperdinck. Osana, BFF, hunt another fleur-de-lis of your choice on the hunt track. Max the Great, champion, equal to this. Yep, Valerie, healer, gain minus or plus 1 points for each wound you heal when you hunt Valerie. Method in the madness of going after those folk. Then we have what looks like more starting cards again. Oh no, those are the same starting cards we looked at. Whoops. Silly me. So yeah, interesting. It's literally just basic mechanics in this expansion. But I think we're going to add a certain degree of difficulty, take that, and another strategy to aim for cards that will build up your attack value and in your deck. Interesting to note too that when you play a hand of the Hunger, you only draw 3 cards as a base value on the start of your turn. So it's not like other deck builders who draw 5 or 6 cards. Only having 3 cards really limits your options on what you can do. But then beefing cards up that allow you, or purchasing cards that allow you to increase your draw limit, for example, will give you a lot more play on your turn because there is no card limit. You can have as many cards as you can draw in your hand, and that's fantastic. We have Hangul, healer again. Also before Afra, and these look like they're more generic, not starter cards. These ones you can purchase, but they can be placed into the main deck. Gloomstalker, Song Ngosnido. You can use attack as speed, and you can use speed as attack this turn. So swap them over. Shadowmancer, draw 1 card. Threats do not attack you when you hunt in their row. See what I mean? Drawing extra cards. Nightbrute will give you 1 move, 1 speed, and 3 attack. That's cheap. Vampiric Claws for 1 attack. Then you have a Chimp, ready permanent, stash. You can stash 1 card under Chimp if there are none, or add the stash card under Chimp to your playing area. Oh, so you can prep a card for later use, that's cool. Tango, will gain 1 speed when you play Tango, discard to gain 2 attack. Ra, gain 1 for each you've healed this turn as a healing permanent. So permanent cards stay in play and will allow you to use them on subsequent turns unless you have to discard them for their ability. Hobbs, Shere Khan, Draw 1 card when you play Hobbs. You may discard familiars to gain +1 per discarded familiar. Then you have a rose sword. Okay, so in the base game, if you get a rose, you can get points on every turn, regardless whether you hunt or not. The rose sword obviously gets added to the deck and gives you a permanent attack bonus for every turn. I dig that. Darrow, eat all humans on column 1. So these are threat cards, and they have a different back as well. Hunters and werewolves, which is very cool. Lind, Wyatt. I love that the werewolves gives you another aspect to play for. It's not just about necessarily making your way out of the castle and getting a rose anymore. Having that threat deck in there just adds a whole other mechanic, because the board game and the humans can hunt back, and that's kind of cool. Well, not necessarily humans, because they're werewolves, you know what I mean. Then we have Thaja, who eats all the humans on column number 1. Defense permanent. When you defeat Thaja, gain 1 for each human she has eaten. Wow, that can be a massive amount of points. Chloe, same thing. Hugo, eat all humans on column 1. When you defeat Hugo, gain 1 for each human he's eaten. Nina. Old Jack has health of 7. So the heart tokens must go on these cards until they're defeated. Flint Bowditch. When you defeat Flint Bowditch, this is a hunter. Take 2 bonus tokens from the reserve, keep 1 and exile the other from the game. Paradox Hilbert. Enigma Marsh, she allows you to take 2 extra missions. Van Griffin, 2 bonus tokens once again. And these are the same cards. Mist LaRue, bonus tokens. You could cash in on bonus tokens from somewhere in the box and get rid of one that could benefit other players, but keep the one that's going to give you the biggest bonus. Mission cards, bonus tokens. Scar, that guy looks nasty. Lady Hawk, she means business. All right, now these are going to be event cards, I'm pretty sure. And we've got different decks with different backs. I kind of dig it. These are vampire cards. So we've got sun cards, moon cards. 15th turn. Reminder, you can attack vampires or threats in the cemetery, but not the castle. At the end of the game, vampires with humans with... That's a double-sided turn marker card. So we've got this is the event deck that can really mess with you. So obviously the moon during the course of the game, and maybe only 1 or 2 of those sun cards at game end on that final round, which could potentially stop you from getting back home. All vampires in the forest add 2 wounds to their discard and draw 1 card. So yes, you get hurt, but you get to draw a card. All vampires on the road add 1 to their discard. All vampires who have at least 1 threat in their playing area discard the first 3 cards from their deck. If you need to reshuffle, add a wound. All vampires, that gives you a 0. All vampires on the road choose and discard a permanent if they have one in their playing area. These symbols here must relate to the symbols on these cards here. So I'll have to check that out, see how that works. In turn order, each vampire can spend 2 to move their vampire to the closest crypt and choose a mission from it. Add a random bonus face down token from the reserve on every empty chest. Wow, you can refill all the bonuses. Planification. Discard 1 permanent. After you refill the hunt track, add 1 heart card on every empty space. Add 1 extra card on each space of column 3. All vampires in the forest can digest a card. The vampire furthest from the castle gains 4 and adds 2 to their discard. Move all vampires 2 spaces further from the castle. Each vampire takes 2 bonus tokens, keeps 1 and exiles the other. Gain 2 as if you had taken the bonus from the board. All vampires shuffle their hand, discard and deck together to create a new deck, then draw 3 cards. Wow. All vampires must discard a card and draw a card. All vampires on the railroad add 1 to their wound and then move 1 space further from the castle. Vampires with a rose in their playing area lose 2 and draw a card. All vampires can spend 2 to digest a card, add 1 card of each space to column 2 and column 1. Little things, but they could definitely change up the game, and I kind of dig that. Game event. When you enter the forest for the first time, you can take at random from the reserve 2 missions or 2 bonus tokens. When you enter the forest for the first time, you can digest a human. You can hunt on a boat. If you have less points than all other players, gain 1 attack. gain 1 extra hunt when you have a rose. You still need to spend speed or attack for that hunt. You can skip your turn to digest all the humans in your hand once per turn. You can discard 1 familiar from your playing area to draw 1 card. You will play 1 less turn, advance the moon token 1 space, and discard the next event card. Each player draws 1 extra card on their first turn. That shortens the game time. Gain 1 and add 1. Draw 1 card if you have any fleur-de-lis in your playing area, or religious. Gain 1 point and 1 extra hunt each time you hunt a villager. You will play 1 less turn, advance the moon token. Draw a new game event card as well. Gain 1 when you start your turn on the railroad. Gain 1 attack if you have at least 1 threat in your playing area. Game changers. I dig that so much. So these are like seals for different houses maybe. And you've got the different sigils there for different things, different seals. What are they for? Mission tiles? Wound cards, hunt cards, rose cards, threat cards. 9 spawn locations. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 spawn location cards. That could be for the cards that are going to be hunting you down instead of you going for doing the hunting. And then you've got here, you are injured. At the beginning of the game, add 8 wound cards of your color on top of this card. If at any time you have no cards left, you are left on this card. If at any time you have no wounds left on this card, you are injured until you heal, lose 1 point every time. You should add a heal due to an attack or effect. So you need to make sure you maintain those, at least something on that deck for those wound cards that we saw. That's these ones here. If you run out, you're in trouble. I dig that. I dig that so much. Wow. Okay, so a lot going on here. Obviously, it's literally cards and a few tokens, but mechanically, this is going to make the game that much more interesting, because instead of just using your speed to hunt on the board to collect humans and familiars and everything else, you have a whole new resource you can plunder or use to your ability, i.e. attack. Being able to use that to attack other vampires is going to add another echelon to this already great game. And those cards that remove the turns, it can be tight enough with having 15 rounds. But to then have potentially 2 of those rounds taken in terms of game events, wow, risk versus reward. Do you book it to get that rose and then get back? By the time you get the rose, you may only have 4 turns left to gain those free points with the rose card. So is it worth it? Yeah, lots going on. And those cards that have the threat cards where you have werewolves that are hunting you down that have their own abilities and things on them. I dig it. I dig it a lot. Have you had experience with Hunger High Stakes? What are your thoughts? By all means, let us know in the comments below. If you'd like to see us try and tackle a playthrough of this one, let us know in the comments below as well. As always, it would be remiss of me not to thank our Patreon subscribers. Thank you very much for allowing us to do all the crazy stuff we do here on the channel. Thank you very much. Mwah. Love you so much, sweethearts. Until then, folks, we will see you back at the table very, very soon. Lots more to come. We got notification that 2 Kickstarters are arriving on Valentine's Day here, which is going to be very spectacular, but also potentially distracting. But yes, plenty more to come on the channel. More D&D, more everything, more awesome, more amazing. We'll see you back here very, very soon for more epic board game content. Until then, my friends, it is bye for now.